Have you ever walked out of a doctor's office feeling relieved because your cholesterol numbers looked good, only to wonder why you still felt tired, short of breath, or worried about your heart? If that sounds familiar, you're far from alone. Many people assume that normal cholesterol automatically means their heart is in great shape, but the truth is, heart health is often much more complicated than a single lab result. For years, we've been told to keep a close eye on cholesterol, and that's certainly important. However, many cardiologists are now paying just as much attention to another number that may reveal even more about your heart's future. This single measurement can provide valuable insight into how hard your heart is working every day. Surprisingly, countless older adults don't even know about it until a serious health problem appears. What makes this so concerning is that this number usually doesn't cause pain or obvious warning signs. It doesn't announce itself with dramatic symptoms that force you to take action. Instead, it quietly reflects the condition of your heart and blood vessels every single minute. Because it works silently in the background, it's easy to overlook until it has already been affecting your health for years. I've met people who proudly said, "My cholesterol has always been normal," believing that meant everything was fine. Then they discovered another important number had been slowly rising year after year without anyone paying much attention. By the time it was finally noticed, it had already begun putting extra strain on their heart and blood vessels. Stories like these are far more common than most people realize. After the age of 50, this becomes even more important because our bodies naturally begin to change. Blood vessels gradually become less flexible, and years of stress, poor sleep, carrying extra weight, diabetes, or simply getting older can slowly affect the heart. These changes often happen so gradually that we don't notice them from one day to the next. Instead, they build up quietly over time. Many people blame aging when they become more tired climbing a flight of stairs. Others assume feeling dizzy after standing up is simply part of getting older. Some ignore frequent headaches, restless nights, or feeling completely drained by lunchtime. Sometimes those symptoms really are related to aging, but sometimes they're your body's way of trying to tell you something much more important. What surprises many people is that this one number isn't only about protecting your heart. It can also affect your brain, your kidneys, your eyesight, and even the amount of energy you have throughout the day. Whether you're walking the dog, working in the garden, shopping for groceries, or enjoying time with your grandchildren, this number can influence how well your body performs those everyday activities. The good news is that this is one of the few health markers you can often improve with simple, consistent habits before major problems develop. You don't need miracle supplements that promise instant results. You don't need expensive gadgets or complicated routines. Small, practical lifestyle changes done consistently can make a meaningful difference over time. Once you truly understand what this number means and why it matters, you'll never look at your heart health in quite the same way again. It offers a deeper picture of what's happening inside your body than many people ever realize. Knowing it early gives you the opportunity to make positive changes before serious complications develop. And that knowledge could become one of the most valuable tools you have for protecting your health in the years ahead. For decades, cholesterol has been the headline. Every annual checkup seems to include a conversation about LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. Many people can even recite their cholesterol numbers from memory. Cholesterol has become the health number most people recognize and pay attention to. But here's something interesting. If you ask that same person what their blood pressure usually runs, many will pause, shrug, or simply say, "I think it's okay." That small difference says a lot. It shows how easily one of the most important heart health numbers is often overlooked. While cholesterol helps tell us about the fat traveling through your bloodstream, blood pressure tells us what is happening inside your arteries every second of every day. It reflects the force your heart must use to move blood throughout your body. Unlike cholesterol, which is measured occasionally, blood pressure represents a constant workload on your heart. That's why many cardiologists consider it such an important number. Think of your circulatory system like the plumbing in a house. Your heart is the pump, your arteries are the pipes, and your blood is the water flowing through them. It's a simple comparison, but it helps explain how the entire system works together. Every part depends on the others functioning properly. Now imagine turning the water pressure up too high and leaving it there not for a few minutes, but for years. The pipes may still work, but little by little, the constant force begins to wear them down. Tiny cracks can develop, weak spots appear, and the entire system has to work harder than it was designed to. The damage happens slowly, often without being noticed at first. Your body works in much the same way. Every heartbeat pushes blood through nearly 60,000 miles of blood vessels, an incredible job your heart performs without ever taking a break. It keeps pumping while you're awake, while you're asleep, while you're reading a book, watching television, or enjoying dinner with your family. Your heart works around the clock every day of your life. When your blood pressure stays higher than it should, your heart has to push against greater resistance with every single beat. Over months and years, that extra workload can slowly change the heart itself. The heart muscle may become thicker, making it less efficient over time. What begins as a small increase in pressure can gradually create much larger problems. At the same time, the arteries can become stiffer and delicate blood vessels in the brain, kidneys, and eyes may experience damage long before you notice any symptoms. These changes often happen quietly in the background. By the time obvious warning signs appear, damage may already have occurred. That's why early awareness is so important. This is one reason many cardiologists often describe high blood pressure as a silent condition, not because it's harmless, but because it usually stays quiet. Most people don't feel anything unusual while the damage slowly develops. That silence is what makes it especially dangerous. Many people expect serious health problems to come with obvious warning signs. They imagine crushing chest pain, severe headaches, or dramatic symptoms that are impossible to ignore. But high blood pressure doesn't usually work that way. In many cases, there are no clear signals at all. Many people feel completely normal. They wake up, make coffee, take the dog for a walk, drive to the grocery store, meet friends for breakfast, and watch their favorite evening shows. Throughout all of these everyday activities, their heart may be working much harder than it needs to, yet they have no idea anything is wrong. One gentleman in his early 70s shared that he hadn't missed a day of work before retiring. He stayed active, mowed his own lawn, and rarely got sick. At every family gathering, he proudly mentioned that his cholesterol numbers looked excellent. He believed that meant his heart was in excellent condition. Then, during a routine visit before cataract surgery, the nurse checked his blood pressure. It was much higher than expected. He felt perfectly fine and almost argued that the machine must be broken. Nothing about the way he felt suggested there was a problem. His doctor repeated the measurement after several minutes of rest. The number was still high. Further testing showed that his blood pressure had likely been elevated for quite some time. Fortunately, it was discovered before a heart attack or stroke occurred. Stories like this happen every day. Many people don't realize that nearly half of American adults have high blood pressure, and a substantial number don't even know they have it because it often causes no noticeable symptoms until damage has already begun. That's why routine screening can be so valuable. Regular blood pressure checks are simple, quick, and painless. They take only a few moments but can provide information that could change the course of your health. A small cuff around your arm may reveal something your body has been quietly trying to tell you for years. Sometimes the simplest tests are the most powerful. Now, you may be wondering, what exactly is blood pressure? The reading has two numbers. The top number, called the systolic pressure, measures how much force your blood creates against your artery walls when your heart squeezes. The bottom number, called the diastolic pressure, measures that pressure while your heart relaxes between beats. Both numbers matter. Think of it like driving a car. Your speed while pressing the gas pedal matters, but so does how smoothly the car settles back before accelerating again. Your heart also needs healthy pressure during both parts of its pumping cycle. Many people focus only on the top number because it's usually larger, yet the lower number can also offer important clues about your cardiovascular health. Looking at only one number doesn't provide the complete picture. Both measurements work together to tell the full story. As we get older, another change often occurs that surprises many people. The top number tends to rise as arteries naturally become less flexible over time. Healthy arteries are a bit like new rubber garden hoses, expanding and relaxing with each heartbeat. This flexibility helps blood move smoothly throughout the body. Over many decades, those arteries can gradually become stiffer, almost like an older hose that's been sitting in the sun for years. When that happens, each heartbeat creates more pressure inside the vessels. That increased pressure forces the heart to work even harder. It's a normal part of aging, but it still deserves attention. Here's where another common misunderstanding appears. Some people believe that feeling energetic means their blood pressure must be fine. Others assume that because they exercise, they don't need to worry. While staying active is excellent for heart health, it doesn't guarantee healthy blood pressure. Physical activity is one of the best things you can do for your heart, but many other factors also play a role. genetics, diet, stress, sleep quality, certain medications, kidney health, diabetes, excess sodium, alcohol, and even dehydration can all influence your numbers. Blood pressure is affected by much more than exercise alone. That's why two neighbors who walk together every morning may have very different blood pressure readings. One may consistently measure within a healthy range. The other may need lifestyle changes or medication despite looking equally healthy on the outside. Appearances don't always reflect what's happening inside the body. Another mistake people often make is assuming one high reading means disaster or that one normal reading means everything is perfect forever. Neither is true. Blood pressure naturally changes throughout the day in response to many different situations. A single measurement rarely tells the whole story. It can rise during stressful moments, increase after climbing stairs, or even go up temporarily simply because you're nervous sitting in a doctor's office. That's sometimes called white coat hypertension. On the other hand, some people have perfectly normal readings at the clinic but higher numbers during everyday life at home. That's why doctors often recommend checking blood pressure at different times and looking for patterns rather than focusing on a single measurement. Consistency tells a much more meaningful story than one isolated number. The trend over time is often far more important than any single reading. And once you begin paying attention to those patterns, you start seeing something remarkable. Small, everyday choices, many that seem almost too simple to matter, can quietly move that number in the right direction. Over time, those small improvements can give your heart a little less work to do with every single beat. Here's something that surprises many people the first time they hear it. Your heart doesn't care whether high blood pressure comes from a stressful morning, too much salt at dinner, extra body weight, poor sleep, or years of unhealthy habits. It simply responds to the pressure it faces. No matter the cause, your heart has to work harder. Whenever that pressure stays high, imagine carrying a heavy backpack. If you wear it for 5 minutes, it's probably no big deal. But if you wear it every day for 10 years, your shoulders, back, and knees begin to feel the strain. The longer you carry that extra weight, the greater the wear and tear on your body. High blood pressure works in a very similar way. 1. Slightly high reading isn't usually the problem. It's the constant pressure day after day and year after year that slowly takes its toll. This is why cardiologists often pay more attention to long-term patterns than to a single measurement. One of the biggest misconceptions is that blood pressure only affects the heart. In reality, it influences almost every major organ in your body, from your brain to your kidneys and even your eyesight. Healthy blood pressure plays a vital role in keeping your entire body functioning well. Everything is connected through your circulatory system. Let's start with your brain. Your brain depends on a steady supply of oxygen-rich blood to perform even the simplest daily tasks. It contains millions of tiny blood vessels that are incredibly delicate. When blood pressure remains high over many years, those vessels can slowly become damaged. Sometimes that damage is obvious, such as a stroke, but more often it develops quietly without causing immediate symptoms. Some researchers believe that long-term uncontrolled blood pressure may contribute to memory problems, slower thinking, and difficulty concentrating as people grow older. While it isn't the only cause of these changes, it's one factor that can often be managed. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went there? That happens to everyone from time to time, but protecting your blood vessels is one important way to help protect your brain over the long run. Healthy circulation supports healthy brain function throughout life. Now think about your kidneys. Most people rarely think about them unless something goes wrong, yet your kidneys filter around 50 gallons of blood every single day using thousands of tiny filters. Their job is to remove waste while keeping the nutrients and fluids your body needs. Those tiny filters are extremely sensitive. If blood pressure stays too high for years, it can gradually damage them. As a result, the kidneys become less efficient and may eventually struggle to do their job properly. The changes usually happen slowly rather than all at once. Here's the tricky part. Kidney damage often develops quietly, without causing noticeable symptoms in the beginning. Many people don't realize there's a problem until significant damage has already occurred. That's another reason why regular health checkups are so important. The same story plays out in your eyes. The tiny blood vessels inside your retina allow you to read, drive, recognize loved ones, and enjoy beautiful scenery. High blood pressure can damage these delicate vessels as well. Over time, this may lead to blurry vision or increase the risk of more serious eye problems. When cardiologists talk about protecting your heart, they're often talking about protecting your entire body. Healthy circulation benefits every organ that depends on a steady blood supply. That's why controlling blood pressure is about much more than avoiding heart disease. It's about supporting your overall health. Another question people often ask is, if I feel okay, why should I worry? That's a completely fair question. The answer is that our bodies are remarkably good at adapting. Sometimes they adjust so gradually that we don't notice problems developing. If your blood pressure rises slowly over several years, you may not notice anything unusual because your body adapts little by little. It's similar to living near a railroad track. When you first move in, every train wakes you up. After several months, you barely notice the sound anymore. Your body adapts, but the trains are still passing by. High blood pressure can work the same way. You become used to it, even though it's still placing extra stress on your blood vessels every single day. Feeling normal doesn't always mean everything is healthy inside. One retired school teacher shared a story that many viewers may recognize. She visited her doctor only because she needed a prescription refill. She expected a quick appointment and planned to stop by the grocery store afterward. Instead, her blood pressure measured much higher than expected. She laughed and said, "I feel perfectly fine." Her doctor smiled and replied, "That's exactly why we check." After monitoring her blood pressure at home for a few weeks, it became clear that her readings stayed elevated on most days. The results surprised both her and her family. She was especially surprised because she walked every morning, didn't smoke, and rarely ate fast food. But as they looked more closely at her daily routine, several important factors stood out. Sometimes it's not one major habit, but several small ones working together. Those little details can add up over time. She often ate canned soups because they were convenient. She enjoyed deli sandwiches, slept only 5 or 6 hours most nights, and spent much of her time caring for her husband, whose health problems created constant stress. None of those habits seemed dramatic on their own. Together, however, they created a pattern that affected her blood pressure. That's an important lesson. Heart health usually isn't determined by one single habit. Instead, it's shaped by hundreds of small choices repeated over months and years. Those daily decisions gradually move your health in one direction or the other. Another common misunderstanding involves salt. Many people believe the salt shaker on the dinner table is the biggest problem. In reality, much of the sodium Americans consume comes from packaged and processed foods. It's often hidden in foods that don't seem especially salty. Bread, frozen meals, canned soups, pizza, restaurant meals, deli meats, cheese, and snack foods can all contain surprisingly large amounts of sodium. Even foods that taste fairly mild may still deliver more sodium than you realize. Reading food labels can often reveal some surprising numbers. That doesn't mean you can never enjoy your favorite foods again. It simply means becoming more aware of where your sodium is coming from. Sometimes choosing a lower sodium version of a product or cooking one extra meal at home each week can make a meaningful difference over time. Then there's stress, a topic that often gets overlooked because it feels like a normal part of life. Bills, family responsibilities, health concerns, caring for aging parents, helping adult children, missing loved ones, and even watching the news can all increase stress levels. These experiences temporarily raise stress hormones and blood pressure. Short bursts of stress are completely normal. The problem develops when your body rarely gets a chance to fully relax and recover. Constant stress keeps your nervous system working harder than it should. Over time, that ongoing strain can contribute to higher blood pressure. Think about how you feel after a peaceful walk in the park. Sitting on the porch with a cup of coffee, listening to birds in the morning, or spending time laughing with your grandchildren. Those moments aren't just enjoyable, they're genuinely beneficial for your heart and overall well-being. During those peaceful moments, your nervous system shifts into a calmer state, your heart rate slows, your blood vessels relax, and your body gets a chance to recover from everyday stress. That's one reason simple daily routines can be surprisingly powerful for long-term heart health. Sleep is another important piece of the puzzle. Many older adults assume poor sleep is simply part of getting older. While sleep patterns naturally change with age, consistently getting too little sleep or having conditions like sleep apnea that repeatedly interrupt breathing during the night can make blood pressure much harder to control. If you wake up feeling exhausted every morning, snore loudly, or find yourself unusually sleepy during the day, it's worth mentioning those symptoms to your healthcare provider. Sometimes identifying and treating sleep problems can significantly improve both sleep quality and heart health. Better sleep often supports healthier blood pressure as well. Now let's talk about something encouraging. Even if you've had high blood pressure for years, your body has an amazing ability to benefit from positive changes. It's never too late to start improving your heart health. Every healthy choice gives your body another opportunity to recover. You don't have to become a marathon runner. You don't have to eat perfectly every single day, and you certainly don't have to make every lifestyle change overnight. Small, realistic improvements are often much easier to maintain over the long term. Research consistently shows that simple habits like moving your body more often, eating more fruits and vegetables, managing stress, getting enough sleep, and taking prescribed medications as directed can help lower blood pressure and reduce the strain on your heart over time. These small actions add up in powerful ways. The key isn't perfection, it's consistency. When you make healthy choices day after day, you're not just changing a number on a blood pressure monitor. You're giving your heart a little more support with every beat, helping it stay stronger and serve you well for many years to come. Knowing your blood pressure matters is one thing, actually improving it is another. This is where many people become discouraged because they picture strict diets, exhausting workouts, or giving up every food they enjoy. After a week or two, they feel overwhelmed and return to their old habits. But heart health rarely improves because of one dramatic decision. It improves because of dozens of small choices that become part of everyday life. The little things you do consistently often matter far more than one big effort. Over time, those small habits begin to add up. Let's start with movement. You don't need a gym membership to help your heart. In fact, some of the best exercises for adults over 50 are also the simplest. They fit naturally into everyday life without requiring expensive equipment or complicated routines. A brisk walk around the neighborhood, working in the garden, walking the dog, dancing in the living room to your favorite songs, or swimming at the community center are all excellent ways to stay active. Even parking a little farther from the grocery store entrance adds a few extra steps. Every bit of movement counts. The goal isn't to become exhausted. The goal is to keep your body moving regularly. Your heart is a muscle, and like any muscle, it responds to consistent use. The more regularly you move, the better your cardiovascular system adapts. As your body becomes more active, your blood vessels become better at relaxing and expanding. That allows blood to flow more easily throughout your body. As a result, your heart doesn't have to push as hard with every beat. Even moderate activity can make a meaningful difference over time. If you haven't exercised in a while, don't let that stop you. Start exactly where you are today. Maybe today it's a 5-minute walk, tomorrow it becomes 7 minutes, and next week it's 10. Those small victories are far more valuable than trying to do too much on the very first day. One gentleman in his late 60s shared that he began by walking only to the end of his driveway and back. He had arthritis in both knees and worried he could never exercise the way he once did, but he kept showing up each day. He focused on progress instead of perfection. 6 months later, he was comfortably walking around his local park 3 mornings each week. He didn't become a marathon runner or an athlete. He simply stayed consistent with his routine. That's often the difference between people who succeed and those who give up. Now let's talk about food, not in terms of strict rules, but practical choices. Many people believe they have to completely change the way they eat overnight. In reality, lasting improvements usually happen one meal at a time. Small adjustments are often easier to maintain. Instead of focusing only on removing foods, think about adding healthier options first. Try filling half your plate with colorful vegetables. Add fresh berries to your breakfast. Choose an apple instead of cookies once or twice a week, and replace sugary drinks with water more often. These simple swaps can gradually support healthier blood pressure. Potassium is another nutrient worth mentioning because it helps balance the effects of sodium in many people. Foods like bananas, oranges, spinach, sweet potatoes, beans, tomatoes, and plain yogurt naturally contain potassium. Including more of these foods can benefit many healthy eating plans. Of course, if you have kidney disease or another medical condition that affects potassium, it's important to follow your healthcare provider's advice before increasing these foods. Everyone's health situation is different. Personalized medical guidance always comes first. The goal is making choices that are safe for you. The point isn't to chase one superfood. It's to build meals that include a variety of whole, nourishing foods. No single food can transform your health overnight. Instead, balanced eating patterns create lasting benefits over time. Now here's a habit that many people overlook: reading nutrition labels. At first, the information may seem confusing or overwhelming, but after just a few shopping trips, you'll begin noticing some surprising differences. Those labels can become a valuable tool for making healthier choices. Two products sitting side by side on the same shelf can have very different amounts of sodium. One can soup may contain nearly an entire day's worth of sodium, while another brand contains much less. The same is true for bread, sauces, frozen dinners, and salad dressings. Small comparisons can lead to smarter decisions. You don't have to memorize every nutrition fact or count every milligram. Simply comparing similar products can help you choose lower sodium options without feeling deprived. Those small decisions become meaningful over weeks, months, and years. Let's also talk about weight, but in a realistic way. Many older adults become frustrated because losing weight seems much harder than it was 20 or 30 years ago. That's completely understandable. Our bodies naturally change as we age. As we get older, metabolism naturally slows and muscle mass tends to decrease. The encouraging news is that even modest weight loss, when recommended by your healthcare provider, can improve blood pressure in many people. You don't have to reach the weight you had decades ago. Even a small reduction in weight can ease the workload on your heart. Every pound lost, when appropriate, can reduce some of the strain your cardiovascular system experiences each day. Progress doesn't have to be dramatic to be meaningful. Sleep deserves just as much attention as diet and exercise. Think about how different you feel. After a good night's rest, your mood improves, your thinking becomes clearer, you have more patience, and your body functions better overall. Your heart benefits from quality sleep too. Creating a simple bedtime routine can make a surprising difference. Turn off the television a little earlier, dim the lights, avoid large meals right before bed, and keep your bedroom cool, quiet, and comfortable. These small habits help prepare your body for restful sleep. Reading a book instead of scrolling through your phone is another helpful habit. Small routines tell your brain it's time to relax and unwind. Over time, these consistent bedtime habits may improve both sleep quality and overall heart health. And speaking of rest, let's return to stress. Stress doesn't always come from major life events. Sometimes it builds quietly through a crowded schedule, financial worries, constant phone notifications, family disagreements, or watching upsetting news for hours every evening. Little stressors can quietly pile up. Your body doesn't always distinguish between emotional stress and physical danger. It simply responds by activating stress hormones. When that response happens over and over again without enough recovery time, it can contribute to higher blood pressure. That's why managing stress is an important part of heart health. One simple habit many cardiologists encourage is taking a few minutes each day to slow your breathing. Nothing complicated is required. Sit comfortably, breathe in slowly through your nose, pause for a moment, and then breathe out gently through your mouth. Repeat this for about 5 minutes. Many people notice they feel calmer almost immediately after this simple exercise. Over time, relaxation habits like this may help support healthier blood pressure as part of an overall healthy lifestyle. They're easy to practice and require no special equipment. Now let's discuss medications. This can be a sensitive topic for many people. Some stop taking blood pressure medicine because they finally feel better. Others worry they'll become dependent on it. These concerns are common, but they deserve careful discussion. Here's something important to remember. Blood pressure medications often work quietly. You may feel exactly the same whether your blood pressure is high or well controlled. That doesn't mean the medication isn't helping. Even if you don't notice any difference, the medication is helping reduce the strain on your heart and blood vessels. It's working behind the scenes to protect your body every single day. Sometimes the greatest benefits are the ones you cannot immediately feel. If you experience side effects, don't stop taking your medication on your own. Talk with your healthcare provider instead. There are many different types of blood pressure medicines, and sometimes adjusting the dose or switching to another medication solves the problem. The goal is finding a treatment plan that works well for you. Managing blood pressure is not about finding one perfect solution. It's about building a plan that fits your health, your lifestyle, and your individual needs over the long term. Another helpful habit is checking your blood pressure at home. Home monitors have become easier to use and are widely available. When used correctly, they provide valuable information because they show what your blood pressure is during your normal daily routine, not just during a doctor's appointment. If you measure your blood pressure at home, try to make the conditions similar each time. Sit quietly for a few minutes beforehand, keep your feet flat on the floor, support your arm at heart level, and avoid caffeine, smoking, or exercise immediately before taking the reading whenever possible. Then write down the numbers or save them in the monitor if it has a memory feature. Over weeks and months, those readings create a much clearer picture of your blood pressure than one isolated measurement ever could. Consistent tracking helps both you and your healthcare provider Finally, don't underestimate the power of staying connected with other people. Individuals who maintain strong relationships with family, friends, neighbors, or community groups often find it easier to stay active, manage stress, and continue healthy routines. Social connection supports both emotional and physical well-being. A morning walking partner, a weekly church gathering, a gardening club, or coffee with an old friend may seem like simple pleasures, but these moments nourish much more than your spirit. They can also support your overall health and help you maintain positive habits. When you put all these pieces together, regular movement, balanced meals, better sleep, stress management, taking medications as prescribed when needed, and monitoring your blood pressure, you create an environment where your heart doesn't have to fight so hard every day. And that's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself as you grow older. If there's one message I hope stays with you after today, it's this. Your heart is incredibly faithful. It has been working for you every minute of every day since before you were born. It has never taken a vacation, and it has never asked for a day off. It simply keeps beating, quietly carrying you through every chapter of your life. That's why paying attention to your blood pressure isn't about chasing the perfect number. It's about showing that faithful heart a little kindness in return. Every healthy choice you make is one way of supporting the organ that has supported you your entire life. Your heart deserves that care. Many people spend years worrying about cholesterol alone. While cholesterol absolutely matters and should never be ignored, blood pressure often tells an equally important story, sometimes an even more urgent one. Looking at both numbers gives you a much clearer picture of your overall heart health. Together, they help guide better decisions. The encouraging news is that this story is not set in stone. No matter whether you're 55, 65, 75, or well into your 80s, your daily choices still matter. Your body continues to respond to healthy habits, even later in life. Positive changes can still make a meaningful difference. Every walk around the block, every home-cooked meal, every good night's sleep, and every moment spent laughing with family all contribute to better health. Every doctor's appointment you keep and every medication you take as prescribed also plays an important role. These everyday actions quietly support your heart over time. Every time you choose water instead of a sugary drink, you're making a positive choice. Every time you pause to take a deep breath instead of carrying stress all day, you're giving your body a chance to recover. These moments may seem small in the moment, but they matter more than most people realize. At first, these choices can feel ordinary. They may not seem dramatic or life-changing, yet when repeated consistently over weeks, months, and years, they become something extraordinary. They become an investment in your future health and well-being. It's also important to remember that numbers are only tools. They don't define you, your worth, or your success. A higher blood pressure reading isn't a personal failure. It's simply information your body is giving you. Information gives you the opportunity to act, and that's a powerful thing. Once you understand what's happening, you can begin making decisions that move your health in a better direction. Knowledge is one of your greatest advantages. If your numbers are consistently higher than your healthcare provider recommends, don't panic. Instead, see it as a conversation worth having. Ask questions, learn what your numbers mean, and work together to create a plan that fits your life, your health, and your goals. Some people improve their blood pressure with lifestyle changes alone. Others need medication in addition to healthy habits. Neither approach is something to feel ashamed of. The right plan is simply the one that helps protect your long-term health. The goal isn't to prove you can do everything without help. The goal is to protect your heart, your brain, your kidneys, and the quality of life you want to enjoy for many years to come. Accepting help when you need it is part of taking good care of yourself. Think about what healthy years really mean. They mean being able to walk through the park without getting unusually tired, playing catch with a grandchild, traveling with your spouse, or working in the garden on a sunny afternoon. Good health makes these simple moments possible. Healthy years also mean attending family celebrations, living independently, and waking up each morning with enough energy to enjoy the day ahead. These are the experiences most people value far more than any number printed on a medical chart. They give life its greatest meaning. And yet that blood pressure number can help make those moments possible. It offers an early warning and an opportunity to take action before serious problems develop. Paying attention today can help protect the memories you'll create tomorrow. Before we finish, here's a simple challenge. The next time you visit your doctor or if you have a home blood pressure monitor, don't just glance at the reading and forget it. Write it down and learn what your usual range looks like. Tracking your numbers helps you understand your health better. If you don't understand what the numbers mean, ask. There are no foolish questions when it comes to your heart. The more familiar you become with your blood pressure, the more confident you'll feel about taking care of your health. Understanding leads to better decisions. Remember, lasting health is rarely built through giant leaps. It's built through small steps taken consistently over time. One healthier meal, one extra walk, one earlier bedtime, and one less stressful evening can all contribute to better health. Consistency is what creates lasting change. One good choice repeated often enough eventually becomes a habit. Those habits quietly shape your future in ways that are easy to overlook today. Years later, you may realize those simple decisions helped you continue enjoying the life you love with the people who matter most. Thank you for spending these moments with me. I truly hope today's conversation has helped you see your heart in a new light and reminded you that it's never too late to take meaningful steps toward better health. Every positive decision you make starting today can benefit your future. If you found this helpful, consider sharing it with a friend, a spouse, a parent, or someone you care about. Sometimes one simple conversation can encourage another person to check a number they've been overlooking for years. Sharing information can be a simple act of caring. And if you'd like more easy-to-understand health discussions designed especially for adults over 50, I'd be honored to have you join us. Until next time, take good care of yourself, be kind to your heart, and remember that every healthy choice you make today is a gift to the years still ahead.